No, they don't. Oh, wait, stop.
Yeah,
Everybody stop.
spoiler.
This
No.
brings up a good point. I saw this today. They had the Flat Earth conference, right?
Yeah, that should show.
No, if you go to the webpage, it'll say where to find the conference. And they use Google Earth to take you where it's at. Only Flat Earth Conference website.
It's not this latitude and longitude.
Just look at it. That's what I'm saying.
And Russian Vids, can I say something? You're arguing about Google Earth, yet like it actually can get you where you're going. You know, if you want to navigate somewhere, that's what you use.
And if I want to get lost, I'll use the Flat Earth map.
Hold on, let me put it simply. When it comes to Google, they have a fleet of planes. All they're doing is flying these freaking planes, like they're driving all these cars throughout these streets and mapping everything out. You can find someone's house, and bottom line is you can, from these Google Maps, you can pinpoint someone's backyard. You can count how many trees someone has, and you're telling me this is from a satellite?
Good luck doing that with my house.
Yeah. Well, I actually communicated with the guy that worked for Rogers Telecommunications, and he told me, he goes, look, we own 4 sports franchises. And of course, these sports franchises are worth in excess of $100 million each. He goes, we do not have a single satellite in space. Because how do I know this? I laid fiber optic ocean cables for the internet.
Oh,
that's
Jesus
how it all works.
Dude, are you? I can't take you seriously, buddy.
Yes,
I just can't.
Yes, because. Oh, sorry, Steve.
No, I was just going to say that what he says is just there's fiber optic cables, but what do you think would happen? How do you think you transmit the data on the downlink? There's an uplink to a satellite, then there's a downlink, and then you have communications via fiber optics that are transatlantic cables.
And we all know how stat phones. I have to plug it into a fiber optic cable to get that shit to work, right?
Rich, let me address Steve here. Steve, you can go right now to Vox Media. They have like a 4-minute video explaining how 99.9% of telecommunications work through these fiber optic underocean
That's the backbone.
cables.
Yes. Would you like to know why?
Yes, that's the backbone.
Yeah. Would you like to know? Would you like to know why? There's
Explain.
2 reasons. A physical backbone is more secure and also easier to tap into for monitoring.
And I would say it's a lot less expensive too. I mean, we only get so much bandwidth going up to satellites.
Backbone needs a rub.
Satellites.
Oh yeah, and also just to be clear, when we're using Google Maps and it's getting me where I need to go, my car isn't plugged into a fiber optic cable doing that. It's actually tapping into this thing called the Global Positioning System, otherwise known as GPS.
Reds, listen, fiber optic cables, and they have these ground towers, these high power ground towers that are all over these urban areas, suburbs, and this is how it works. Why do you need to fly planes? Facebook wants to fly planes over Africa to give them internet. What the hell's up with that?
Yeah, whereas Elon Musk just wants to use his SpaceX company to bring global internet using satellites. There's many different ways of achieving the same goal, dude. And also explain this to me. Why is it that when I'm traveling between Tampa and Sebring, Florida, that I can't get cell phone signal worth of shit and can't watch Pornhub whenever I want, but yet it's still telling me that I have 58 more miles to go on Highway 66?
Red, I'll send you some videos that will kind of supplement those times.
Yeah, so basically, in order for me to watch Pornhub in between those 2 points, I have to download it onto my phone, but yet you're telling me the cell phone towers are still connected to my phone in some way? That seems like a pretty shitty setup.
Well, that's something I have to take your word on. I don't know, and bottom line is this.
I don't know. That seems like the mating call of a flat earther.
Yeah, I mean, all you would have to do is
I
this.
have a question for you, RussianVids, concerning this whole GPS thing.
Yeah.
Well, I'm actually going to go, guys. Can I ask one question real quick, though?
Yes.
All right, go for it.
Okay, it's not all that important, but I really need to know what is the mark of the beast, because I'm planning my next tattoo, and I really want to be able to identify myself.
Well, I'm pretty sure there's an Iron Maiden album called Mark of the Beast.
Damn right.
This is a prophecy that is provable. Everybody would need to experience it if it happens.
Provable.
And
it's provable.
It's very. No, I'm not done yet. It's every human will experience it if it actually comes true. It will not be subjective in any way. The Bible is very, very clear, and this is what I was saying. The flat Earth or the moon landing deception is foundational to that, because the entire world would be in coordination.
So what is the mark, though? John is asking what the mark is to get. Is there a physical mark? Is it a symbol? or is it something?
Because I'm also in need of a tattoo, and I'm thinking,
it's my teeth marks.
Hey guys, I want to mention this.
Wait, hang on. I want to hear the answer to this question. What is the symbol?
He needs to answer the question. Right. I need to know what I need to tattoo.
What is the symbol?
Oh, come on, give me a break. Listen, guys, I want to ask a question.
No, RussianVids, I'm not joking here. I want to hear the answer to this question. Let him answer.
Okay.
Yeah, so in the Greek, it's the word mark is charagma, which could be interpreted as something actually physically inside your hand, or it could be like a tattoo or something etched onto.
I've got a lot of things inside my hand, but I wouldn't call that the mark of the beast.
If I just got the NASA logo tattooed, would that be good enough, or am I not pushing it?
Here's where it's very specific, and it kind of, in my opinion, the Bible can be very easily rejected if we don't see this in our lifetime.
Cool.
It has to be hand, forehead. It has to restrict you from commerce. It has to be everybody worldwide. It can't be just one jurisdiction. It can't be one city. It can't be one company. None of that. And not only that, let's just say you do take it. It has to have the consequences that are prophesied as well for the Bible to be true, which are, if you want to, I could tell you what it is, but it's a very layered prophecy.
So basically, I need to get a tattoo that says "Make America Great Again."
No, it has to. Restrict you.
Yes.
No, it has to. It has to restrict you from Space Force, from commerce.
So basically, I love Trump on your hand.
Kicked out for wearing MAGA hats, so that's restricting them from commerce.
Yeah, I love Trump. Will get you restricted from a level of places.
Okay, so it's not actually a mark or anything that you can even describe. It's this idea.
No, I think it's the RFID. It's the
the RFID. Okay.
How does RFID prevent us from buying shit?
It may not. We'll have to wait and see. That's what I was using.
Eliminate currency.
Yeah.
Eliminate currency. You have to use it. Obviously,
there's a credit card type shit. There's a company in America that's already voluntarily allowing their employees to do it.
So basically,
they're actually
Jesus is involved in Bitcoin.
I mean, what he's saying isn't too far. Right now, they are using RFIDs for payments of things of that nature. They're also using eyes. People that have gone in and they got like a retinal scan, and they actually use their eyes as payments.
That's different.
In certain things.
Different. Yeah,
okay.
That's different. The Bible is very specific.
Hey, by the way, for you, Mind of God, remember how it says that the moon is a light source in the Bible? Yes. So, in your opinion, the moon makes its own light, correct?
I'll answer that after you.
I mean, I just want to word it carefully, but yeah, it's an independent light source. Yes.
Okay, so it's not reflecting light; it's literally producing its own light.
Yeah, made by our Heavenly Father.
We can go to the moon, by the way.
Yeah. Question on that front. So, I went ahead and took this image of the moon with the Nikon P1000, the flat earther camera of choice. And if you actually zoom in on this moon by a metric fuck ton. And it has to be a metric fuck ton because apparently imperial shit. You can actually see inside these craters shadows. Like, for example, here's the shadow of the rim of this crater, shadow of the rim of this crater, and it becomes even better with this particular crater right here. You can actually see some shadow and a bit of light bleed over here as it's going on top of this crater here. So if the moon is making its own light source, why aren't the centers of these craters like here, here, and here, which are on the light side, not illuminated?
I mean, that's a pretty specific question. I don't even see where you're seeing shadows. Like,
I see shadow. I saw shadows.
Shadows inside the crater. Well, the dark bits inside the crater.
I can answer that.
Oh, Joy, like I was asking you, but go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, one thing I want to mention when we look at this is going to be relevant. I'm going to just set the foundation. When you look at
probably won't be. I'm telling you right now.
When you look at the moon, say a full moon, the whole moon has the same amount of illumination when you look at it. But in this instance, you don't see it like it get darker while you go towards the so-called spherical sides or around it. It's just the same amount of light throughout. But the bottom line, as far as this is concerned, I believe there's more light on the left side, and it just
that makes absolutely no sense. But Red, let me ask you. So if you look at it doesn't. Trust me. But if you have Red, hang on, Russians. Shh. Reds, if I'm looking at the crater, right, and I'm seeing a shadow on one of the edges, right? I'm seeing it on one of the ridges. Now, that shadow will change from one time to another with respect to the sun being illuminating on it. So that shadow is not a fixed shadow. So if there was the case that the sun or the moon was producing its own light, that shadow should be the same at all times, right? It's just an intensity difference from when it's a point where it's producing less light than some of the other places. But if the light's from an external source, that shadow will move, right?
Yes, and to demonstrate that, I went ahead and took this picture of the moon taken with the Nikon P1000, the flat earther camera of choice, and you can see that those exact same craters now all of a sudden have no shadow.
Amazing.
So there's no shadow, but yet you can see that these craters, which we did not see in the previous image, now they have shadows on the edge. And also at the very top of the moon. And for those of you who are wondering, yes, there's the craters, and there you can see the lip with the shadows on them. So that means that we have everything pointing to the moon actually being illuminated on, not the moon making its own illumination.
Why don't we see light hitting from the sun? Why don't we see any sun rays from the sun hitting the moon in the night sky? We don't
because there's nothing to disperse that light. When you're in water and you see the rays of light coming down, or even if you're in the atmosphere when you see the rays of light coming down, that's because there's actually something there to scatter the light. You don't have anything to scatter the light in a vacuum.
Right. So light is parallel rays, Russian, and unless you have like dust or something that'll actually cause a scattering effect, then the photons are going parallel with each other, right? They're not going towards your eye. So you need something to come in, hit something, and then cause a photon to deflect, and that one photon will go on and strike your eye. If you don't have anything in between there, you're not going to see anything. It's going to be black.
Right. Steve, let me ask you this then. Why during the day, when we look at the moon during the day, we get half moons, and you see the sun, of course, above the horizon at the same time as the moon? We see half moons. Sometimes they're full moons.
Because
during the day, sometimes they're half moons.
It's just geometry. I don't understand how you even ask these questions. It's so basic.
I covered that exact topic.
He drew a picture even. He literally drew a picture.
Look at the luminary part of the moon. It doesn't match up. That's what I'm getting.
Yes, it does match up.
Actually,
Hi, Craig. Break out your crayons.
Your inability to visualize 3D space.
Wait, let's try with Reds. Reds, let me tell you that what we were discussing. Did you hear that with the half moon? Why are the edges not being illuminated?
Now, I'm going to actually ask you the same question that other people were asking you. What do you mean by edges?
Like, why would the moon not be... Like, I'm seeing one, surface of the moon from my perspective. Like, the sun is on the right, moon is above me, to the left of the sun. Like, why that surface that I'm looking at, why is the edge at least not illuminated? Why are the rays not able to reach that, but it's able to reach all the body that's above it or behind it, however you describe it, the backdrop?
The way it works is that a single light source can only illuminate half the sphere at a time. So what you're seeing is that side of the sphere pointed towards the sun, and you're actually seeing the part that is not pointed towards the sun not illuminated because it's not getting directly hit with the light. Take a tennis ball, or any spherical object for that matter. Take a single light source, shine a light on it. Notice that only half the sphere can be illuminated at a time, and depending on your position relative to that sphere, you will see more or less of the illuminated portion.
But is the moon then blocking the sun from getting to the what we would call the firmament or the blue stuff? Why is there not a gap in the light like you guys were saying with me and the moon?
Because there is no firmament.
Hang on.
Okay,
First,
that's a really bad answer.
No. Hang on. The question was asked to me. All right. First, there is no firmament. Secondly, there is. No.
Back there, that blue thing.
No. Actually, it isn't, and I'm about to demonstrate that with my secondary answer with evidence that other flat earthers were able to give me. Because flat earthers were able to point out to this one rocket launch that was a sounding rocket that went above the Earth's atmosphere. And what you saw was this sounding rocket take off in the daytime, and then all the supposed blue of the sky ended up being below the rocket. And yet there's the moon in space surrounded by black in the daytime. That blue is not at the same altitude or level as the moon. That blue is in front of the moon, and the light from the moon is going through the atmosphere, through the blue light that has already scattered. not the other way around.
Whoa! Wait. Okay. Let me 1 second. Time out. We have the moon, right? Just to go back to what I experienced. I'm looking at the moon, and do you agree that there's light in front of the face that I'm seeing? There's light.